Our personal vehicles are a major cause of global warming. Collectively, cars and trucks account for nearly one-fifth of all U.S. emissions, emitting around 24 pounds of carbon dioxide and other global warming gases for each gallon of gas. About 5 pounds comes from the extraction and production and delivery of the fuel, while the other bulk of heat-trapping emissions, more than 19 pounds per gallon, comes right out of the car's tailpipe. If you think about your daily life, how often do you use a car? And when you use it, you probably are not making long trips, just driving around town, stopping and starting. This goes through around 470 gallons of gas per car per year. But there is a solution to this problem helping the environment. Moving forward, we can make a switch to battery electric cars, shown here compared to normal gasoline cars.
Both cars start out on the assembly line with similar parts made of raw materials like steel and aluminum. For a gasoline car, this manufacturing and assembling stage generates about 7 tons of emissions. Battery electric cars, meanwhile, are powered by, you guessed it, a large battery. This requires more energy and materials to produce for an 84-mile range battery electric car, bringing its emissions tally up to roughly 8 tons. But what happens when they hit the road? Gas-powered cars produce pollution with every gallon of gas they burn, with even more emissions coming from extracting, refining, and transporting the fuel to gas stations. Electric cars, on the other hand, run on electricity, which can be much cleaner than gasoline, depending on how the electricity is made. 2/3 of Americans live in regions where charging an electric car produces fewer global warming emissions than driving even a 50-mile-per-gallon gasoline car. By the end of their lives, the average gas car will rack up 57 tons of global warming emissions, compared to 28 tons for a battery electric car. Disposing and recycling each car adds less than 1 ton of emissions. And remember that electric car battery? It can be recycled or reused. In the final tally, an 84-mile range battery electric car cuts global warming emissions by more than 50% compared with a similar-sized gas-powered car.
Also, we can produce fewer emissions with cleaner fuels when they're burned. Some fuels, such as those made from cellulose biofuels, can reduce emissions by 80% compared to gasoline, and that cleaner extraction can ensure that dirty fuel like oil doesn't get any dirtier. Instead, we can invest in ethanol, which is renewable and domestically produced for transportation fuel. Ethanol helps reduce petroleum and transportation and greenhouse gas emissions. New technologies are appearing, creating advancements in the automotive technological field. A father-son duo from South France has created a car that runs on completely compressed air, shown here.
Okay, so this is the airport, and I've just ran it for a while, and as you've seen, it's very agile, and you can see there's no driving wheel, just a joystick, and it's very comfortable because you are like in a seat, just driving in the city with this wonderful view around you because you are seeing everywhere, and it's a real new way to drive into the city. The main advantage, of course, is that it's no polluting cars. You're running for free emission, without emissions, and then after it's also the cost because it's very cheap to use and cheap to buy.
The American Lung Association reports that 30,000 people are killed by car emissions annually in the United States alone. Air pollution also causes numerous respiratory and cardiovascular problems and may bring up pre-existing conditions such as asthma. More than half of Americans live in areas that fail to meet federal air quality standards at least several days each year. In closing, if a fuel-efficient car isn't in your budget, carpool or bike places nearby. The little things go a far way.